We are live, guys. Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Card Quest. I'm your host, Andy Kaysen. Here we correlate everything we love about the NFL and fantasy football with football cards to make some nice little side cash and improve our personal collection. And tonight, guys, we've got a very special guest. I know him as Scott. You guys may know him as the co-founder and CEO of StarStock. Scott Greenberg. Very happy to have him on the channel.
Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. Welcome to the studio, Scott.
Thank you. Great to be here. Excited to chat.
So, I like that hat too. Is that Penn State?
No, it's actually a golf course.
Okay.
It's called Great Wolf Golf Course in Massachusetts. Shout out to Great Wolf. I went there with my cousin a few weeks ago. So
excellent, man. Hey, that's my second favorite sport besides football. I got my golf clubs right here, man. So definitely love some golf.
If we have extra time, we can toss it up on the Masters a little bit at the end.
Oh, okay. That's a great topic. Which brings me to a great point. Let's dig into this content because I'm really excited to pick your brain. I want to start off the questions very basic. I may have made one or two videos about StarStock, but I also recognize that there's a lot of new people getting into the sports card market and a lot of people that are into football, fantasy football, basketball, baseball, soccer that are also into sports cards. And they're looking to get into sports cards. So I first want to start off by asking you, what is StarStock?
Yeah, so StarStock, we're a stock market for sports cards, basically. And so really what we're trying to build here is a platform where people can invest in their favorite athletes' cards instantly and at scale. And so, my co-founders and I, started the company, based on our own experiences buying cards. And what we really wanted to see in the market was a place where you could, buy and sell cards easily and flip them without needing to ship the actual product, and a place where you can buy at scale without having to pay just ridiculous transaction fees. And so that's what we've built here. And really, our model is to take cards, and ingest them and put them into a centralized vault. So we're separating ownership and possession. And then we allow our users to list those cards on our market and sell them back and forth with each other without actually needing to exchange possession on each transaction.
That's fantastic. And that's really important for a guy like me that doesn't necessarily have all of the resources to constantly be going to the post office between my day job and my kids and wanting to grow a online YouTube business and everything, but also just like storing cards. Like I had so many cards from my childhood that I got out of my dad's closet, and like a lot of these cards were not in good condition. And one of my subscribers actually commented that they live in Mamaroneck, which I think is where your vault is located, right?
That's where our office is.
Okay.
And so we're based here in New York. Our vault's actually in New Hampshire, though.
Okay. That's awesome, man. So I want to ask you, so what kind of people should join StarStock?
Yeah, so we have tons of different types of card collectors and investors on our site. I think there's different aspects of what we do that a lot of people love, and so for people that like to quick flip players and watch games and try to almost like day trade, or people that are looking at the next 2-3 weeks of football schedules and are trying to identify players that have easy competition coming up where they could potentially buy them for a lower price and flip them after a few good games. StarStock is an ideal place for those types of collectors and investors. We also have some really cool collection mechanics, really easy ways for people to chase after the rainbow or, collect all of a specific parallel. And so we do have a ton of people that aren't necessarily in it for the flipping, but just love building out their collection on StarStock and love leveraging, like you said, the fact that we store and insure their cards for them.
That is really cool. So that kind of leads me into my next question is what kind of cards do you guys accept or list on your website?
Yeah, so the broader rule is current athletes only and rookie players. We're a stock market, so we really want players that are going to move fast, that people want to transact, and that are going to have price movement. We want people that could have a big stretch of games and their prices could go up, or they could potentially get injured and their prices could go down. Those are really the cards that are more exciting for us. Within there, we only accept 3 or 4 sets for each sport. I think it's actually 4 or 5. So for NBA and NFL, we accept Prism, Optic, Select, Donruss, and Mosaic. And for baseball, we accept Top Series 1, 2, Update, Bowman, and Bowman Chrome. And so that's kind of the general rule there. We also just actually added soccer in the past couple of weeks, and so we're slowly rolling that out with a slightly different method. We're actually going player by player, and so we've selected around 20 players and are taking 2 to 3 cards for each player. And so all this information is available on our FAQ on our website. So for anyone who's looking to send in some cards to StarStock and might have a question or two, they can certainly reach out to us, support@starstock.com, but most of the answers are actually right there on the website too.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been very pleased with your website, just the graphic user interface. And Scott and I were talking before we came on air. To give everybody a little bit about Scott's background, he co-founded a software company that assisted people in relocation, a business-to-business relocation called Pivot. And so I think with your software background, right, Scott, a lot of that, did any of that play into a role here with StarStock?
Yeah, that's always been my interest. I've always been really interested in building products, especially digital ones. And my partners have experience in the space as well. Both of them were previously at FanDuel. One of them was one of the co-founders there. And so they come from a similar world, building products and specifically like a very similar sports-like product.
Nice. I was posting up a comment here from JJ Bama, then I realized it was kind of blocking out your face. But it's just a positive, and a lot of feedback that I've gotten from guys on here, the graphic user interface, the ability to see your pricing history, your data tool that you baked into the software for free. I mean, there's no additional cost to use that price research. And one thing I've noticed that I want to ask you about is that I notice on some cards, you're pulling in price history, sales history from eBay, but I don't think it's all the cards. Can you elaborate on that?
A good amount of the cards. So really the goal around that was, when we were looking at launch, one of the things we were talking about is how are people going to accurately price their cards? And if you're a buyer, how are you going to come onto our site and know that you're getting a fair price? And so that's the reason why we started pulling in some history from eBay. What we realized shortly after was we were actually kind of wasting our time in some ways because we were building up the data a lot faster than we thought. We had, tons of sales coming in. And so over time, we've really just been able to build out our own StarStock sales data on the site. And so we're not actively really adding as many new players to go out and get data from. We've been able to do with just the StarStock sales that we've been having on the site.
Yeah, because that's critical. Like you're saying, if the more data points that you have or more sales points you have, you can really see that trend. Like you're talking about the day trader trend, so you can see when is the falling knife or the candlestick and the rising, like when it's at the bottom of the chart. Like that's a great point to buy, and it just makes it so easy to understand as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just kind of my brief story in sports cards is I grew up a really big collector, and like a lot of us, put it aside for several years and came back in, just a couple years ago. And so a lot of the things that we're doing are just pain points that we experienced when we got back into the hobby. And one of them was just like looking at eBay prices and having absolutely no clue if they're fair or not. And so, when we were building out StarStock, we decided pretty early on that we'd want to, build out that data and also share it with everybody for free, because, if people are more confident with, the prices that they're seeing, then they'll buy more cards.
Yeah, that's great. And another thing I like about StarStock that I mentioned before is that you don't have to have a lot of knowledge about cards. Like if you have the knowledge about players, like a lot of my fantasy football friends, they have a lot of knowledge about players, but not a whole lot of knowledge about cards. And they can go to StarStock and understand, okay, here's their premium rookie card right in front of me, and they're like led to the best cards to invest in. Because like if you follow anybody that knows anything in the sports card investing space, the rookie card is the card you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I was getting back in, I was, talking to a lot of my friends and trying to get them, to collect and invest in some players with me. And there was just a lot of pain points in the process. And so really our goal is to just try to make it as easy as possible, try to enable people that might know of a few players that they think are undervalued, but not necessarily know which card is, the best card for them to buy. We want to make it super easy for those people to come on StarStock, be able to, search in a player and only have maybe 1, 2, or 3 options of which card they should buy and be able to make an educated decision pretty quickly.
And you have all the parallels on there of those rookie cards that you're accepting too. Like you said, you could build a rainbow of the prism, and they're I don't know how many parallels they have now, but it's a lot, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a lot of people love doing that. And so it's been really cool on our end to kind of see all the different ways that people have been using the platform. People that are buy heavy, people that are using it to kind of sell off some of their cards so they can buy that 1 or 2 really, really big card that they've been saving up money for. Some people are using it, for the collection mechanics. And so it's been really cool to see.
Yeah, it has been. One thing though that I have to ask you about, and I saw here a comment from Gaming God LJ, which is somewhat related on this topic, is my good friend, my best friend here, he's also a YouTube content creator. Him and I had a little debate last week, fun debate on the differences, pros and cons between COMC and StarStock. And a big thing that he likes to mention, and he showed me his sales history on COMC, is that approximately a third of his sales come from eBay, because COMC has an affiliation with eBay to where they push sales that are listed as buy it nows on eBay. So my question to you is A, what makes StarStock better than COMC or eBay, or different? And better, really. But is there any plans in the future to have any StarStock listings transferred over to eBay like they do?
Well, first off, really great question by Gaming God, and I like his Nick logo. I'm wearing my Nick sweatshirt right now, Gaming God LJ. So appreciate you. We need to have each other's backs, Knicks fans. Yeah, no, really great question. Tons of people ask that all the time. I change my mind on things all the time. We do as a company. We're always kind of re-looking at things. Where we stand right now, kind of going back to what we've been talking about here. We built this company because of our frustrations with some of the other markets out there. So for us to list cards on those markets, we're trying to beat them. We're trying to build a better product. We're trying to build something for the hobby that works a little bit better, and doesn't have as many pain points. So I don't see in the near future us doing that. The other thing as well is like, given our model, it would be really tough to. And so we basically built a whole entire business around low fees, instant transactions, buying at scale, and investing, instantly. And so eBay we would have to go back to their 15% fee. We'd be playing with their rules. We'd have to ship all the cards, which wouldn't be instant. You click the button and you get that card immediately. And we wouldn't be able to sell cards from different sellers in one transaction at scale. And so like literally the 3 pillars that we built StarStock on, we just have to throw them out to list cards on eBay. And so I don't think we're going to do it in the near future. Never say never, but we're really trying to build a premier product. And yeah, we don't have as many cards as eBay does right now, but hopefully when we're having this conversation in a couple of years, we have more.
Well, you guys how many cards do you have now in your vault?
I think we're just at about 300,000. I think we'll hit 300,000 tomorrow. Actually, we'll hit 300,000.
300K. So what's the? Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, so we launched with 3,000 on the site, and we had to be super scrappy to get that 3,000. It took us more than 3 weeks, I'll tell you that. And the response was just really, really great after launch. And so really appreciate all you guys for sending cards into us and trusting us. And so it's been really exciting. We're processing 100,000 plus cards a month now. I mean, I don't know. I think you submitted a submission maybe in the past few weeks or so, but the lead times right now are really, really fast. This past 2 weeks, everything's gone in and within 7 to 10 days or so. I'm not saying it's always going to be like that. Our time frame is 1 to 3 weeks, but right now most cards are getting in within the week. And so that's been a really, really big focus of ours. About 2-3 months ago, it was, it was probably 4 to 6 weeks. And so we've really been working on scaling that up. It's been a big priority for us. And so I hope people have been pleased with that.
Oh yeah, I definitely have. And I know I can speak for a lot of the guys here. The turnaround time has been incredible, and it was critical before the football season, particularly for me because I focus on football here. I of course waited till like the middle of August. Maybe it was like, I think it was like August 10th or something like that. And I was just really impressed with the whole customer service experience, getting an email when you guys got my cards, getting an email like within 2 business weeks that they were uploaded. I was like, oh, I made it before football season and everything. And it was awesome. I had a lot of success in that. And then I saw you guys recently posted a tweet, right, about a focus that you're placing on the 2020 rookies. Because I know there's a lot of nice, there's a lot of really good 2020 rookies, and especially in the NFL class this year. What's the turnaround time like that right now on 2020 cards?
So we just started this service called StarStock Fast Pass. And so really what we'll be doing there is prioritizing all the new 2020 sets. And so when Prism comes out, they'll be added to the list. When the new basketball sets come out, they'll be added to the list. And all those cards are processed within 48 hours or less, business hours. And so not the weekends necessarily. They could. We come in on weekends and process cards, but we're not as efficient as we are during the week. And so yeah, that's our way of trying to get the newer, more high demand players onto the site faster. And so those, along with graded cards, are 48 hours and less.
Okay, so graded cards fall into that category as well.
Yep, graded cards have for a couple months now.
Very nice.
Completely different process. The main reason being, for all the ungraded cards, we have to give them a StarStock A, B, or C grade. And while the graded cards, they come in slabs and they're good to go, a lot faster to process for us.
So that's a great point you made there, because I have to ask you, what can you share with us about the grading process of determining, because I primarily invest in raw cards to really limit my downside. And diversify my portfolio with, because there's just so many football players, like guys that I know from fantasy here. So I felt underpriced. And I did really well with that. What can you share with us about the grading process on raw cards?
Yes. So we actually just put out a video on it. So
Okay.
if you look up, I guess if you looked up StarStock on YouTube, we just kind of created a YouTube account. We're going to start putting out just like kind of helpful FAQ-like videos. The first one is obviously explaining our grades, but we'll dive in and kind of share some more stuff in there. But really, a StarStock A card is a card that we consider a mint condition or near mint condition card. This is a card that will either look absolutely perfect to us, or might have a minor issue with it. Maybe one soft corner, but we still think it's going to get a 9. Maybe it has, a dimple, but we still think that the card looks good. Then we classify those as A's. StarStock B's have one larger issue, or a couple of minor ones. So maybe it's 2 soft corners, or maybe it's one kind of surface of the card that isn't great, or maybe the outline of the player doesn't perfectly match up with the picture on the card, and so those will get B's. While C's are cards that are just in poor condition. They might have a really terrible printing line on it. It might be like one of those mosaic card that comes with like all the crap and all the surface issues on it. And so that's what a StarStock C card is. One thing I will say is we take it really, really seriously. And we look at all the cards very carefully, but we are doing it with the naked eye. We aren't using any technology. We aren't spending as much time as they are at PSA looking at the cards. And so this is all just, what we can find in a few seconds or so to our naked eye.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys are processing cards very fast. So, but I know that you guys are definitely like being meticulous with it, because there's cards that I've sent in that I thought, like, I even got out my lens like wiper and like made it sure. But I know that talking to other guys, mosaics are really hard grades with the dimples and the surface imperfections. Do you guys have like one of those magnifying things that light up? Are you like putting it under
No, well, we do have the right lighting for it, but we're not using any magnifying glass or any of that stuff. And so it's all the naked eye. And so that's kind of I'd like to think we catch most things. For every one complaint that we're not strict enough, there are 5 to 10 complaints from people that are upset about their B's, and thinking that they should have been A's. And so it's something that we're super mindful of. We want to give a very accurate representation on the conditioning of the card. And like one of the worst case scenarios for us is someone buying an A card and getting it and it not being an A. And so we kind of lean more towards the cautious side there. And so hopefully, as people get some of these cards graded by, professionals, they'll see that their StarStock A cards are getting, 8s through 10s. And that would be fantastic. We'd be happy with that.
Yeah, that would be great. I noticed, I want to go back to that, the point on grading, because I have another question, but real quick, I think this is important. Who are the other founders besides you, Scott, of StarStock?
Yeah, so the other founders are Nigel Eccles and Mike Kuchera. And so Nigel's background, he was the founder, co-founder and CEO of FanDuel. Worked at FanDuel for about 8 years. Mike was one of the first hires that Nigel made at FanDuel, actually, and was head of the customer experience and customer support team there. And built that up from, I think he was the first customer service agent and built it up into 100+ person customer service team there. And so those are my 2 partners, both big card collectors as well.
That's awesome. And you have a guy that's got an incredible amount of daily fantasy sports background.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we see tons of parallels, as obviously you do as well, with the two markets, and also the customers and the people that are participating. There's a lot of overlap.
So I want to go back to the grading, Scott. I noticed this question, another good question here from Marlon Williams. Is StarStock at any card shows? If so, do they accept submissions there at the show?
Marlon, this is something that we really want to do. I'm actually thinking about maybe going to the one in Dallas next week. I'm not 100% sure, but thinking about doing it. But I think as we start to feel a little bit more comfortable traveling, we'll try to get to more shows. It's definitely something we want to do, to have little drop-off zones at these shows, and be able to meet people and talk to our customers. That's really one of the more frustrating parts of this pandemic, is not being able to kind of meet our customers face to face and hear their thoughts and feedback. And so 2021, hopefully you'll see us at all the shows.
That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to one or two as well. That'd be a really cool experience to get to meet everybody in this community. That's been awesome.
Totally.
But going back to the StarStock virtual experience, are there any plans in the future to maybe have the ability to submit my cards through you guys at StarStock to PSA or BGS?
Yes, soon. I saw Ziggy commented on it. We're working on it. And so really shortly we should have some news there, but it's something that we're very excited about. Stay tuned. If you don't follow us on social media already, that's usually where we kind of announce most of these things. So go follow us on Twitter or Instagram, StarStock Market. But yeah, hopefully pretty soon we should have some news on that.
Awesome, man. That's huge for me, because I only have a couple graded cards, really just getting my feet wet, been back in the sports card market since COVID really hit. And I didn't realize how cool cards were these days, from being a kid in the early 90s collecting then, and now being back in it. So I would love to be able to just submit my cards. Like, I have these StarStock A's, and just click a button that says, for a small fee out of my account, submit to PSA, and then you guys take care of everything else.
Absolutely. Yep. That is the goal. And so kind of typically with everything we do, we'll roll it out in waves. And so we'll kind of dip our toes in first. A lot of it will be manual. But the goal is eventually you'll be able to go into your collection, select the cards that you want to send out, and click a confirm button, and hope we'll take care of everything else, and we'll let you know when they're back.
Dude, that is music to my ears. Here's an interesting question from Brad Nolan. He's my favorite Chicago Bears fan. So don't hold that against him, Scott. But he said, with soccer, he wants to submit some. Will you be adding stickers in the future? True rookies are a little different in that sport.
Yeah, very different. I just feel bad for the Bears as a Giants fan, or a New York sports fan. I feel the pain there. The soccer market's a little bit interesting. It's definitely kind of structured differently than football and basketball and baseball as well. And so it has been a little bit challenging finding the best way to roll out soccer. The kind of dynamic behind rookie cards is a little different. People consider different cards rookies, whether it's them in their international jersey or their club jersey. Is their first World Cup rookie card their real rookie card, or is it from like when they were on their club team? And so what we decided with soccer was it would actually be easier to just go on a player by player basis. And so we selected about 20 guys and around 2 to 3 cards for each one of those players. And that's our starting point.
Okay.
And the plan there is to kind of launch out more players in different waves. And so, maybe in a few weeks or so, we'll launch another 10 players. Again, we'll announce these things on social. And so that's how we're doing soccer. We just announced that we're accepting it about 2 weeks ago. We actually just added it as a section onto the marketplace this afternoon. So it's super new. We're going to see how it goes and then make adjustments from there. But having said that, like all the feedback that we can get from you guys, whether it's, your opinion on how we're rolling out these players, whether you think that there's superstar players that we're missing on our site that we need to have, any of that stuff that you can share with us is super, super useful. It's the only way where we really know if we're doing the right thing. And so, send us DMs, send us emails, give us a phone call if you're a soccer fan and you have an opinion.
Yeah, and I'll say your email response, your customer service has been fantastic. I mean, I've emailed, like I actually did send in some cards that were rejected recently, which I said, I got a tracking number from your automated email, and I sent Mike at StarStock an email, and he literally responded to me within a half an hour. Oh yeah, that's right. We're processing refunds. We're just checking to-dos off our list, being proactive on things, and they had been there for a while. And that was one thing that I did bring up in a video, because you guys don't stop accepting so many inserts, which I completely agree with, because you want to put the emphasis on those base rookie cards or those premium sets. You don't want it to get out of control, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've tightened up the checklist. So we really don't take inserts anymore. Kind of going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, like how can we make this super, super easy for someone that won't be able to tell between the 70 different Zions, which one's the best one? And so we're only taking base cards right now and their parallels for the sets that we accept. And so really the goal is to have cards that we can build liquidity in, where we can build, hundreds or thousands of cards of that specific card. Those are the cards that we want. And yeah, so, with the rejects, obviously everyone's, first few submissions, especially when, we just launched, we're a new company, there's confusion around what we accept, what we don't accept. So there has been a lot of cards that we received that we've had to reject over the past few months or so. And so we are in the process of basically getting all the cards that we don't accept out the door and back to the people who own them. And then we'll basically set up a process where if you send us cards that we don't accept, we'll pull them out. They'll go straight into, a package and get sent back to you right away. We really, it makes our lives so much easier if people check the FAQ or, try to do a little due diligence before they send. And we've seen that over the past few months, we've gotten way less rejects than we used to.
Nice. That's good, because that's like probably a lot of work. I mean, you have to go package those up, go back to the post office, send them back out. And you want to list those. Those are, that's lost revenue. And, you want to list cards on the site. Yeah, so I did want to ask you one question that I haven't asked you yet is about, and this is like everybody wants to, I'm sure, ask you this about actual pictures of cards versus scanned images.
Yeah. So, we take pictures of all the cards. We actually kind of the story with that is like we launched that feature a couple months ago, and there was no response whatsoever. There was no change in the way people use the site. There was no response on social media, and so we reverted back on it. And so we're kind of thinking of different ways that we want to use these photos. Do we want to show an actual picture of every single card in your collection? We're kind of deciding what to do next. But really, with any feature that we put live onto the site, we're tracking and measuring it especially those first, few days and hours and weeks. And of all the, we got a bigger response for, a random filter that we put in than we did from launching the pictures inside your collection. And so we reverted back on that. And we'll kind of see, what we do there in the next several months or so.
That's interesting. I thought at one point I logged on and I had some, like, my card looked a little off-centered like that, and it was not like a perfect centered image on a StarStock A. So that's cool. I personally have no problem with the no pictures thing, because you guys are doing the grading behind the scenes of classifying between the A, B, and a C. So I feel comfortable when I'm buying an A. I know that that's going to be a near mint to mint condition card that I could submit that would score pretty good at PSA.
Absolutely. And for us, like, we need to do a better job of making sure everybody knows exactly what an A, B, and C is. And so that's why we that's one of the reasons why we launched this YouTube account. And that was the first video that we did. And we need to, that's not enough. We need to kind of continue to work on educating people on, not only our light grading guidelines, but really everything else with their site.
So you guys got soccer on the platform, and I know at the very beginning of the show we just touched for a second on both of our loves for golf. Is there any future hopes for some golf cards on there?
Here's the thing. The people in the comments are going to be the ones that decide what we take next. We basically got to having no choice but to take soccer. The market was going crazy. We were getting too many DMs, too many emails to have to answer back to these guys and tell them that we're not taking soccer yet. So we literally got to the point where we're like, all right, well, why aren't we doing this? And so all of you guys are going to decide what we take next. I kind of hope it's golf. I love golf. I do actually think so. They're putting out the Upper Deck cards later this spring. It's going to be the first set that they do since 2014, I believe. I also think just like the way golf works, and since it's like an individual sport, makes it really, really easy, right? Like it's kind of like a perfect sport to have a stock market for. And so I'm hoping that the golf market takes off and we can have some golf cards on StarStock pretty soon. We have a lot of people that ask about hockey as well. And so those are a couple. The WNBA just came out with cards. I see UFC in the comments. Lots UFC, of different, lots of directions we can go. And so wherever we see the most demand, that's where we'll head next.
Awesome, man. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I hope so too. You guys might see some golf content from me. If I deviate from football at any time, it might be golf.
If you need a guest to come back on and chop it up on golf, I'm your guy.
Man. Awesome, man. I see a comment here from Alanista, and your data tool, like we touched on a little bit earlier, is incredible, because the level of data that you get on there is equivalent to a platform like Market Movers from Jeff Wilson, who he does a really good job, and he pulls all his data from eBay, but it puts it in that visually pleasing format, so where you can see the price trend, so you can really understand where's the price been, where is it at compared to where it's at now, and then with your knowledge of the player and everything else, like Al mentioned here, I think he's kind of asking, are you planning to incorporate a bunch of different like news articles or metrics in with your data on your website, or is it going to be strictly card price history?
No, we have tons of data that we're going to throw in. So that, past few months or so, we've been spending a lot of our kind of engineering efforts on building ourselves internal tools to process your cards faster. And now we're starting to look at some kind of updates to the market that we can put out, some more data that we can share, things like that. And so I hope some of you guys saw the update we put out on the marketplace last week. Kind of changing how we do things more with it's kind of a window shopping style marketplace now. We have plans very soon to add some more kind of live game aspects into the site as well.
Ooh.
So you'll be able to find people. You'll see a window for people that are currently live playing, and you might even be able to kind of see how those games are going as well. And yeah, we have tons of data that we that we track and that we look at, and that we're hoping and excited to kind of roll into the product. And so I think one area personally, just like as a user, that I'd like to see us, improve on is kind of some of the data in your own collection, sharing, allowing you to kind of see how your collection is trending and how the value is going up or going down week over week, and allowing you to compare how your basketball collection is doing compared to your football collection and your soccer collection. And so I personally think we need a lot of work there. More something that's kind of coming a little bit sooner is we are going to start rolling out some like market reports onto the site. It'll be like pretty like static data for you that we'll put out on a week by week basis, but it will kind of include some of the things that Al touched on, fantasy metrics, fantasy rankings, what their prism price is compared to their last week's fantasy points, things like that. That will just be kind of cool things that I've been kind of writing out on the whiteboard behind me myself a little bit, just trying to find players myself that I'd like to buy. And so I think it'll be cool once we put that in.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to that, because I utilize your data tool a lot in my videos, because it's a very good tool to use to see how the market is reacting to certain players. And as you get more activity on your platform, it becomes more apparent. Like you can see even better trends.
Absolutely. Yep. It's turned into, last year when a big player was going off, I'd check my fantasy score or check the fantasy league to see how that player is doing. And now I just go straight to StarStock. If a player, big pickup, like, Le'Veon Bell or something, immediately to StarStock, see what happened to the prices. It's fun.
I got an interesting question here with the holiday season approaching. This is actually, I know there's a promo code, right, Scott? If people are new to the site?
There are promo codes. There are a few of them out there. They're not that hard. They're not that hard to find. I'd go find one. Confused, but I don't know exactly who's to share. But yeah, there are promo codes for those that are looking for one. The previous question from Ziggy on gifting StarStock cards, or doing like a gift card, really, really great idea. So I've that's kind of become my go-to gift. It's cheating. It's a little easy, but it's a phenomenal gift, to throw something in someone's account for them. So I think that's something that we might explore. If other people like that idea, shoot us an email, tell us to do it. Like I said earlier, if enough people ask for something, we certainly want to, want to provide things that you guys want to see.
So I've got a couple comments here about defensive players. And I want to also ask you about kickers as well, because my buddy Brad Nolan, he actually flipped some kicker cards of Harrison Butker, and he made a game-winning kick at the beginning of the season for the Chiefs in that week too. And he was able to flip some Harrison Butker cards and made a decent profit. And I always have this debate with guys in my fantasy league that are like, no, kickers are offensive production. They're skill position. Got to have them in the league. And other people are like, nah, it's a gimmick position. We don't want them. So kickers and defensive players, I want to ask you, Scott, any future plans for those?
Hear the defensive players thing all the time. This is the first time I've heard it about the kickers. Unlikely. I think if we were to do defensive players, there's a good chance we do, but we'd probably roll it out similarly to how we're rolling out soccer. So we'd probably say, all right, we'll take JJ Watt, we'll take Aaron Donald, we'll list out specific players, because what we've realized is once we kind of open the doors to anything, once we start accepting defensive players, we will start getting, 95% defensive players that nobody's heard about and nobody wants to buy. Nothing against defensive players at all. But it's just, the reality. And so really for us, we want to spend our time processing and promoting the cards that are likely going to sell frequently. And so I think there's a good chance we could do kickers and defensive players, but we'd probably roll it out just like a specific list, maybe 25, 30 defensive players or something like that.
Yeah, I got you. That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
If anyone has a better idea, please share.
Yeah, the gist I'm getting is that you guys are very forward-thinking, very open-minded, and you want to be built, like you basically are taking all the feedback you get from your customers and the stakeholders, and then, branching out from there.
Yep. Yeah, that's how we do things here. And so, we're super lucky that we have great customers and great users that, provide us with awesome feedback. You're one of them. So, when you put out a new YouTube video, go straight into our Slack channel, everybody watches it. And so we really appreciate it from you guys.
Very nice. That's awesome, man. So Evan, I highlighted his comment because he's got the Knicks logo going on. I know you guys can relate there. And he said, I think a community day is a great idea. Maybe like once a month, give away a box and rip it live and deposit the cards straight into the vault. And I noticed another comment here from Sam, then commented breaks would be cool. So have you put any thought into box breaks or ripping?
We have put a lot of thought into box breaks. For us, we want to really, really focus on building out this market, building out the secondary market. It's a lot of work. That's really our biggest focus there. So I don't think we'll get heavily into breaks or anything like that. Having said that, I love the idea for a community day. We do have a lot of kind of plans upcoming for some things that we can do and just get out there more, do more, go live on social media a little bit more, do more of these conversations with people like you and other customers. And so hopefully we'll be doing some cool stuff in the next coming months.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. Really appreciate that feedback. I'm just going through the comments here, and I saw Marlon said kickers are boring. Hey, but I've had guys in my fantasy league that say that's irrelevant whether they're boring or not. They are considered part of the offense. They put up points for their team, so they should be in the league. And I couldn't argue with them. I had to put kickers back in my league.
So here would be a good way to figure out if there's value. It's look up an Adam Vinatieri rookie card, right? If it's got some value, then maybe it makes sense. If a Vinatieri rookie card is like $2, then what kicker is going to be better than Vinatieri? Most won't. Maybe one kicker in the league right now will be better than Vinatieri or retire with more Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got a good point. I mean, Vinatieri, I can't believe he's still, shout out to Nate Liss. Nate Liss is another awesome content creator. This guy is a fantasy football genius right here. And I've been following his content. He's helped me win a lot of money in fantasy football in the past. Him and Matt Kelly from Roto Underworld. And Nate is co-founder of Breakout Finder and Player Profiler. And he's getting into cards. He's beginning back into cards. He's putting up some card content. So I'm very excited that he's getting into cards. And I've been chatting back and forth with him offline. And I'm excited to see more of these guys that are fantasy experts get into cards. And I think there's a tremendous amount of value there for what StarStock brings to the marketplace.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you like fantasy football, we have a competition going on called the SIFC. It's the StarStock Invitational Football Championship. And so if you go to starstock.com/SIFC, or we usually have a banner up around midweek when we put out our most recent update. And so what's really cool about that is we have 12 people that are either experts in sports cards or fantasy sports or just in the sports world in some way. And we gave them all $500 on the site, and we're watching them invest their cards in football players and seeing how they do. And so we have really big we have Matthew Berry, we have NBA player Matt Dellavedova participating. We have a bunch of people in the sports card world, the guys from Blaze, the Breakers over there, and the guys from Stacking Slabs and a few others. And so if you're into fantasy sports, that's been pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I have been paying attention to it. I noticed that I was, going to ask you offline, maybe how do I get in that competition next time?
You are the fantasy football card quest, right? It's right in the title. So we might have to find a way to get you in there.
So can you share anything about who you're currently investing in, Scott?
Yeah. I mean, like, what do I know? I'm a big basketball fan. And so my strategy is I usually like to go after like second and third year players that maybe didn't quite blow up like everyone thought they should have or would have, or, maybe there's just other players in the class that are kind of stealing more of the attention. And so I've been kind of focusing on basketball players to pick up, trying to think of who, like DeAndre Ayton, someone who I think is pretty undervalued. I just think he's an absolute animal. I think he'll average a double-double this year. Other players, I think DeAndre Hunter has a lot of potential. I like that he can play on both sides of the floor. I'm biased because I'm a Knicks fan, but I bought a lot of Iggy Brasdenkis just because I loved what he did at Michigan, and I just think he's a baller, and his prism's like $1. And then, on the other side of things, I think Zion, depending where you get it, could be extremely undervalued right now. I think you can buy, I bought a Zion PSA 10 for $550, a few weeks ago, or maybe like close to a month ago now. And I think that I'll be able to take a profit if I want before he plays another game. And so I think that could be a really good play. Similar thing happened with Luka last year in the offseason as well. And obviously we know what Luka did this past year and what happened with his card price.
Wow. Yeah, I could definitely tell you've got a lot of passion and knowledge about basketball. And is your football team, are you following the NFL at all? I mean, I know you're following it, but do you have like your home team? I know you're in New York, so.
Big Giants fan. I saw Sam. I saw your comment. Is Daniel Jones the future? I don't know, man. I ask myself every day. He had his worst game. His worst game of his career, I think, on Monday. And so we'll see. Are you a Bucs fan?
Hey, I'm diehard, man. I'm here in Tampa, born and raised, lived my whole life. So I've been through the thick and the thin, and this year is like I'm on cloud 9.
Totally. Good for you. Have nothing against the Bucs. It's been fun. Like, I've enjoyed watching Brady play for you guys. I love the receiving core there. I hope Antonio Brown's a beast when he comes back. And so, yeah, just
I've heard he's been keeping his head down, and I actually bought like that night. It was like that Friday night. It was rumors. I was like, I want to grab me an Antonio Brown rookie card before they get crazy, and I bought a Donruss rated rookie because I know that I can send that to you guys if worst case scenario. I might keep it for my personal collection, but that game Monday night was controversial. I mean, still that final play, but all the way from the beginning of the game, it was controversial.
There's a few plays on that last drive. The Mike Evans pass interference on the sideline was a little sketchy as well. We blew it from the whole entire game. Like, our defense played awesome to hold you guys to what you guys did, and our offense had so many opportunities. I mean, Jones threw some of the worst interceptions I've ever seen. Missed a lot of plays as well. Not even picks, but just missed throws. So you know, whatever. At this
Your guy Saquon, man, another torn ACL, rough, man.
Yeah, heartbreaking. My two favorite players in the NFL are Saquon and OBJ, and they both tore their ACLs.
Oh man.
Yep.
I just bought a couple OBJ prisms too. But like I told people in the video where I was saying, yeah, I'm buying, they're back at around $20 for a StarStock A. I'm going to buy a couple of them because he's still got the most social media followers out of any NFL player. So I was like, I feel safe about
that. I don't think I can name 10 athletes in the world that are more athletic than that guy. I hope that they can either figure out a way to get him the ball more in Cleveland, or I hope he gets out of there and goes somewhere where they target him 15 times a game, because he is so good. He shouldn't, I mean, like, talking fantasy, he shouldn't be the 20th ranked fantasy wide receiver. It's just absolutely insane. He's way too talented. And I'm with you. I have a bunch of his cards as well. I think as far as like social presence and influence in the culture goes, when you catch the ball with one hand, it's called OBJing it. So like, he's not going anywhere. I like his card a lot.
All right. I know we've got a hard stop in a few minutes, Scott. You've got another call to get on. You're a busy man. This is a really good question to, I think, kind of end on. Where do you see StarStock 10 years from now? Where do you see StarStock maybe even 10 years for a ways away? But let's say 3 to 5 years. Let's go 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, well, what we're really hoping and expecting is for investing in sports cards and prospecting using sports cards becomes a mainstream hobby like fantasy sports or like sports betting. And we want to be the go-to place to do that. And so, 10 years from now, hopefully even sooner than that, we've built out a company with, tons of cards on the site and tons of great users. And we've built a community around, investing in athletes. It's something that we all love to do. We all love collecting cards for a lot of different reasons, but feeling like you own that player, or feeling like you can actually benefit from that player playing well is a lot of fun. And so that's really the goal. That's really like our North Star.
That's excellent, Scott. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover that I missed?
No, I think it, covered everything that I hoped to, and don't want to cover too much. I'd like to get invited back in the next couple months or so, and have another conversation.
Hey, you're always welcome back here, Scott. So thank you very much for stopping by, having this conversation, guys. I hope you guys got a lot of value from this conversation with Scott, and learned a lot about the platform, StarStock. Go sign up for StarStock and follow them at StarStock Market on Twitter, Instagram, all social media platforms. Look up StarStock on YouTube, and I'll see you guys in that next video. Peace.